1 pick, and the Timberwolves probably just got their biggest W for their franchise in quite a while when they were able to get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. The T-Wolves are either going to be able to pair up D'Lo and Cat with a very young rookie with a high upside, or they can look to trade this pick to get a star in return. But with this being said, the Timberwolves have to continue this trend with a good free agency this offseason. It would make no sense for the Timberwolves to get these types of good players in the draft just to sign free agents who won't fit in the scheme. As a result, I want to focus on 3 free agents that have been playing well in the bubble that the Timberwolves should try to sign in free agency. As for the amount of money that the Timberwolves can play with, it's actually not going to be much. The Timberwolves don't have too much money towards guaranteed contracts as of right now, but it's highly likely that James Johnson will opt into a $16 million contract, and also considering that the Timberwolves will most likely match any contract offer that comes towards Malik Beasley's way, the Timberwolves are most likely only going to be able to offer free agents a veteran's minimum. So with this being said, let's take a look at the 3 players that the Timberwolves should look at. The first player that the Timberwolves should be looking at is Jeff Green. Now, to think that Jeff Green was going to be such a good player for the Rockets in the playoffs is something that I would have never thought of when he first got waived by the Jazz, but he is playing perfectly with them right now. Before the playoffs began, Green was playing pretty good. He was averaging 14.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 2.3 assists per game on 51.8% shooting from the field and 31.1% from 3 on 5.6 attempts per game. But in the first round playoff series against the Thunder, Jeff Green has turned it up on a whole nother level. Green so far in the series is averaging 15.6 points, 7 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game on 50% shooting from the field, but on a much improved 46.3% from 3 on 6.8 attempts per game. Now, Green won't be able to sustain this, and no one should expect this. But what the Timberwolves can expect is that Green will be able to bring defense that is much needed on this Timberwolves team. Shooting at times because Green can be streaky, and most importantly, versatility. He's basically James Johnson, but just a much cheaper contract. The Rockets will most likely try to keep him, but just keep an eye out for Green if they don't. The second player that the Timberwolves should look to sign in the offseason is Tyler Johnson. In my opinion, Tyler Johnson would be an excellent combo guard to bring off the bench for the Timberwolves. Tyler Johnson's case is so similar to Jeff Green's. After having a 2019-2020 regular season that was forgettable to say the least, which was highlighted by how the Suns decided to waive him, I didn't expect him or the Nets, quite frankly, to be able to do However, much. With the Nets in the playoffs against the Toronto Raptors, even though the Nets did get swept by the Raptors, Tyler placed a very strong performance in that series and in the bubble as a whole. Before the playoffs began, and it was just the seeding games, Tyler averaged 12 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 3 assists per game on 40.5% shooting from the field and 38.9% from 3 on 4.5 attempts per game. And against the Toronto Raptors, who have a top 5 defense in the league, Johnson managed to play even better. Johnson in the first round series averaged 13.8 points, 1.8 rebounds, and 2.3 assists per game on 44.8% shooting from the field and 37.4% from 3 on 7 attempts per game in only 23 minutes. The Timberwolves didn't have a bad bench this past season, but at the same time, they didn't have a bench that one can tip their hat and be proud of. As a result, getting a guard like Tyler Johnson, who is also extremely versatile in the positions that he can play, is something that the Timberwolves should really look into signing. The third player that the Timberwolves should look to sign is Meyers Leonard. Now this one I'm sort of reaching because Leonard has barely played in the bubble so far, but with him, I know exactly what he'd be able to bring for the Timberwolves. He is a nice rebounding big who can shoot the 3 and space the floor to come off the bench. And considering how the Timberwolves backup center is Naz Reid right now, who by the way isn't a bad young center by any means, I just believe that Leonard would make much more sense than Reid right now. For the season, Leonard is averaging 6.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 1.1 assists per game on 50.9% shooting from the field and 41.4% from 3 on 2.5 attempts per game. In the 2 bubble games that Leonard has played so far, he is averaging 4.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist per game on 40% shooting from the 3 on 2.5 attempts as well. As you can tell by the marginal amount of minutes that Leonard is getting, he does have some major limitations. but I am more in the viewpoint that the Timberwolves can use him in around 15 to 20 minutes per game alongside most likely Juan Hernan-Gomez after the Timberwolves re-sign him to create major floor spacing who can help their guards, especially Jarrett Culver, considering how Culver struggled with this shot this past season as a rookie. Here are my 3 free agents from the bubble that the Timberwolves should look to sign. If they were able to sign any of these players, the Timberwolves would be able to see themselves playing much better next season in my opinion. Until next time, peace.